Welcome to Chris. Today we're going to be discussing the NBA and China issues that's been going on. We're going to be discussing this 42-year-old man spreading AIDS in an outbreak in South Carolina and who he was targeting. And lastly, we got an update on Tekashi 6ix9ine and his music. So this NBA and China issue started off from one man tweeting something to this outrage and outrogue of the banners being pulled and people being kicked out. But it all started when Daryl Morey, the GM of the Houston Rockets, tweeted this. He tweeted support for Hong Kong, and if you don't know, Beijing currently controls many aspects of Hong Kong, which used to be a British colony. So there's been 4 months of violent protests, and if you didn't know, NBA and China have a big, huge relationship. It really escalated when Yao Ming went to the NBA. If you don't know who Yao Ming is, he's a 7'6" center that played for the Houston Rockets, which is ironic because Daryl Morey is the GM for the Houston Rockets. But either way, China was really pissed at Morey. There was even talks about him potentially getting fired. They pulled Houston Apparel off from their websites. They said they're ending all their relationships with him. Houston has many relationships with China because, like I said, they had Yao Ming. They even had Jeremy Lin for a little bit. So a lot of those companies were severing relationships with Houston. They even had the superstars, James Harden, apologizing for Daryl Morey's tweets and saying he doesn't agree or support with him. China's state broadcasters saying they're pulling Houston games off the air. So you know how much money's on the line when you're talking about this. So the NBA, a league that's been talking about their way progressive, they allow their players to protest or speak out on things. They don't really look like they're very progressive when it comes to this China thing because Adam Silver, the commissioner, denounced it. He was basically saying, we don't agree with it. He's trying to do whatever it takes to save the money because, as we all know, China has the money currently. We even have vocal coaches such as Steve Kerr and Greg Popovich that usually they speak out on things, but this time they're siding with the NBA and saying they're doing the right thing and not trying to take a stand with this China and Hong Kong thing. So people that aren't tied to the NBA express some of their own thoughts. So we have people that aren't tied to the NBA that are speaking out against them. For instance, Beto, the president candidate, he's not really a candidate anymore, but he said the NBA should be ashamed of themselves for putting money over human rights. We also have Al Sharpton, who spoke out saying you guys are okay to speak out on Trump, but when it comes to Hong Kong, that's an issue. Basically, Al Sharpton says Adam Silver needs to draw a line because if it's okay to criticize Trump here, but it's not okay to criticize China, it's very hypocritical. And it got bad because, Donald Trump, he has to say something about everything, but he said the NBA knows what they're doing. He basically said the NBA was pandering to China. He had specifically attacked Steve Kerr, who I brought up earlier, Steve Kerr has been very vocal against Trump, said that he looked very nervous. He didn't know how to answer the question. He also said Greg Popovich is pandering to Silver, who's pandering to China. So Donald Trump had a lot to say. It's bad when I actually am agreeing with Donald Trump that the NBA is pandering. They backtracked so quickly. They didn't want to lose any of that money. Don't forget that China took down a banner for the Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Lakers. They were coming into town that week. They removed the banner, so they were scared of the game being canceled. So they did whatever it takes to smooth this out. Fans that had protests of free Hong Kong signs were removed from the game. It's just, for someone that it's okay to speak out against Donald Trump, it's okay to stand up for black rights, but when it comes to China and their money, that's where the NBA takes a stand. That's where they stop. So I lost a lot of respect for the NBA, for a league that talked about they're more progressive than the NFL. I mean, I agree, you still are more progressive than them because they're the whole, 30 white men in one room with their thoughts, and NBA has more color, has more diversity, but we all know when it comes to money, you're putting that above human rights. And I know that's how it is, but when you're a league that talks about being progressive and you're not being progressive, you're going to get the criticism that you've gotten. And you are hypocritical. So let me know in the comment section. Do you guys think the NBA is hypocritical for how they handle the China situation, but they allow their players to speak out against Trump or anything in the US? Or do you think we're right? We need to not talk on anything in China. We only need to stick to stuff that's in the US? Or do we need to pick our battles? Where do you stand on this? Because me personally, you allow people to speak on that, you got to be able to speak on everything, even risking the consequences of money. It's because Trump doesn't have any money tied to the NBA, you're okay to speak on that. But because China has money tied into the NBA, you're not okay. So we know where your goals truly align. So this is news that's not being reported nationwide, but on social media we try and spread things around. But there's this 42-year-old man, white supremacist, and he had AIDS, and he spread it over to 600 black women. Some were willingly, but also some of it was pedophilia, some of it was rape. Either way, he's a disgusting man, and the worst part about it is people alerted the authorities about him, but they didn't care to do enough research into it when they first started. He did this from 2017 all the way to 2019, and people spoke on it, but the South Carolina police didn't care enough. We know why they didn't care, because it was the black women that were being attacked, not white women. This guy particularly went only after black women. We see all these photos, all these things I'm about to show you. It's very sick, so if you don't want to look at it, fast forward past this part. I'm understanding it. But here we go.
Yeah. Hey. Shit don't last. Yeah. Hey. People, they come and go. Money, they come and go. Everything come and go. Hey.
So after seeing all that, it's just sad to see now a whole community of people. You went to high school. There's like 600 people in your class. A whole class of you now have AIDS, and you're all black women. And this all happened because of police negligence. If they did their due diligence and went after that man when they should have, he wouldn't have attacked maybe 600, the numbers would have been low. But they didn't care because of who he was attacking until it was too late. And now you see this. I'm going to pull up this other statistic in South Carolina. They have an outbreak of around 650 people that have AIDS, and that's around how many people this guy allegedly raped. So their whole AIDS outbreak is because of this guy. So in reality, if they did do their due diligence, they would have saved a lot more in the long run. So these cops, they don't care about us, and I don't know how else to show it, but hopefully one day they will. And I just want to let it be known, other people may not report or talk about it, but I'm going to be the one to cover these things, because this needs to be known, and y'all need to be safe and be aware of your surroundings and know there's fucking crazy, nasty fucking people out here, and you need to watch your back. So in my previous video, I talked about Tekashi 6ix9ine. He was snitching on the 9 Trey Bloods to get off, and hopefully he can get off in 2020, continue his music career. Well, turns out last week that's actually going to be successful. So 10K Projects, his former record label, signed him to over a $10 million deal. They want him to do an album in Spanish, and they want him to do an album in US. Remember I talked about how Tekashi thinks he's going to be released in 2020. They're banking on him being released then as well, so he can start the music, release those 2 projects. He's going to collect his money. But I learned some news about Tekashi as I was making this video. He's from New York, and Hot 97 is the radio station of New York that plays all the music and puts artists on. They're refusing to play any of his new music. They're also banning him from Summer Jam. That's where a lot of artists perform, big crowds and all that. So they're ending all relationships with Tekashi 6ix9ine. We'll see if other radio stations follow along, or if The Breakfast Club and all these other people that interview people, do they want his views and clicks, or do they not want to be involved with him? That's also something to monitor going forward. But as of right now, he's getting rewarded for snitching. $10.5 million. Those people he snitched on got convicted last week. He's going to be out in 2020 and potentially get this $10.5 million deal. But if he ain't going to be able to play in New York, that's going to be hurting to his potential getting out. I know there's YouTube and social media now, but hearing yourself through the radio and all that still helps. So let me know in the comments section again, now that he has a deal, do you think he's going to be able to live through the deal? Do you think more radio stations are going to cancel his music? And you personally, are you canceling his music like we probably are? Because me personally, I doubt I'm going to listen to his music now. Like, you a snitch. Your music was, it was good turn up music, but nah, I ain't turning up to a snitch no more. So yeah, I'll keep tabs on Tekashi because he's, you know, headlining news whenever he makes it. But as of now, that's the update. This is really what I'm going to talk to you about this week. The NBA was the biggest talk of the week. Not many people were talking about the South Carolina thing, but I wanted it to be talked about. And then people were upset about a snitch being rewarded for money. But we'll see how that happens. So don't forget to subscribe, turn on those notifications, comment, like, share this video with your friends if you enjoyed it. This Chris, I'm out this motherfucker.